The FIA has issued a formal response to McLaren's concerns regarding Red Bull's recent conduct, and it appears the Austrian team may now approach future accusations against rivals with more caution. Reports suggest that FIA President Mohammed Ben Sulayem is ready to implement penalties for teams that make unfounded allegations, a move that could directly affect Red Bull's current scrutiny of McLaren's tire cooling system. This raises the question, will Red Bull and particularly Christian Horner dial back the thinly veiled insinuations they've made in the media? And if their freedom to speak out is curtailed, how will the team respond? The 2025 season is shaping up to be one of the most hotly contested in years, with McLaren drivers pushing hard and Verstappen facing real competition. With no dominant edge, Red Bull seems eager to use every tactic, including psychological pressure, to keep rivals on edge. But this time, the tactic may have crossed a line. Christian Horner has implied that McLaren is using a water-based method to cool their tires, a claim dismissed by Pirelli as physically implausible. According to the tire supplier, the concept of channeling water through tire valves simply doesn't hold up under scrutiny. Rather than entertain the accusation, McLaren CEO Zak Brown has proposed a firm solution. If a team wants to throw accusations, they must commit to a formal protest and accept financial consequences. Brown's proposal is bold. He suggests that any team filing an allegation should have the cost of the investigation deducted from their budget cap. If the claim proves correct, the money would be restored. If it's proven false, the budget cap hit remains, acting as a deterrent against baseless finger-pointing. Interestingly, Ben Sulayem has endorsed this suggestion, hinting at a growing alignment between him and Brown. The two have apparently found common ground on more than one occasion, with this latest move aiming to restore discipline and fairness in the paddock. As Brown puts it, you can't just throw accusations around without filing a proper complaint, and complaints should come at a price. Of course, Horner has not made a direct accusation. He knows better than to risk formal consequences. Instead, he has subtly suggested that McLaren's MCL39 might be bending the rules, using vague references and citing thermal camera footage they've analyzed. Following the Miami Grand Prix, Horner defended Red Bull's scrutiny by stating, "This is Formula One. Questions are always asked, just like they questioned our front suspension last year. When you're at the front, you're always under the microscope." While Horner sees this as a natural part of competition, Ben Sulayem disagrees. In his view, spreading speculative claims without accountability undermines the professional standards of the sport. He believes F1 needs a clearer, more responsible process for raising concerns, not a media circus. As the season progresses, this tightening of regulations around team accusations may mark a turning point. The FIA seems poised to reshape how disputes are handled, and the days of casual mudslinging could soon be over. Whether Ben Sulayem's push for reform stems from a genuine desire to elevate the integrity of Formula One, or if it's simply a political move to preserve his presidency, remains to be seen. What is certain, however, is that his leadership is under increasing scrutiny. With FIA presidential elections looming at the end of the year, Sulayem's position is far from secure. Adding to the intrigue, rally legend and Dakar winner Carlos Sainz Sr. has made it clear that he intends to run for the top job. Reports suggest he has already garnered significant support from high-ranking figures within the motorsport world, a signal that real change at the top could be imminent. If Sainz's bid gains traction, Sulayem may not hold on to his role much longer, setting the stage for a potentially dramatic leadership shift within the FIA. But as compelling as the political drama might be, what truly captivates fans and teams alike is the on-track action. And this season may struggle to match the intensity of last year's campaign. One thing that's becoming increasingly obvious is that McLaren has built a car in a league of its own. The MCL39 has raised the bar, and its dominance could define the remainder of the season. Many are watching closely for the upcoming technical directive on front wings, expected to be enforced at the Spanish Grand Prix. However, there's a prevailing belief that even with those changes, the gap McLaren holds is simply too large to overcome. The question now is whether their dominance will last or if other teams can mount a response. Last year, Red Bull inadvertently helped Ferrari and McLaren close the gap by making key design missteps from Miami onward. But this time, it's McLaren carrying all the momentum. And unless their rivals find something radical in their upgrades, we may be looking at a more predictable, even monotonous championship run. Christian Horner is well aware of this. He's acknowledged that McLaren's primary strength lies in their exceptional tire management, particularly during the latter stages of medium compound stints. After the Miami Grand Prix, Horner admitted that Red Bull must study McLaren's performance closely. He pointed to brake issues that compounded Red Bull's problems during the race, but emphasized that understanding how McLaren controls temperatures will be key to regaining competitiveness. Beyond the FIA's push for formal complaints tied to the budget cap, another narrative has emerged, this time from McLaren's camp. Team principal Andrea Stella has criticized rival teams for playing the victim, suggesting they're exaggerating McLaren's advantage. In particular, he dismissed the long-standing myth that Verstappen is dragging an unworthy car to the front of the grid, a theory often fueled by the underperformance of his teammates. Stella believes the performance gap between Red Bull and McLaren is real but not insurmountable. He points to qualifying sessions as proof that the margins are smaller than some would like to admit. In his eyes, McLaren is ahead, yes, but not miles ahead. It's a statement that adds further intrigue to what is shaping up to be a fascinating battle of development and perception in the months ahead. Expanding on his earlier comments, McLaren team principal Andrea Stella took a pointed swipe at Red Bull. He acknowledged their strengths, stating, "They're excellent at building fast cars, outstanding at driving them, and perhaps even better at crafting narratives that serve their interests." Stella suggested that Red Bull often presents themselves as underdogs, painting a picture where every win is a miracle, and any rival success is merely what should be happening. "It's a story we hear now and then," Stella said, "but we turn the page and focus on our own work. We dive into the data, focus on the facts, and ask ourselves, what can we do better?" He praised the consistency of his drivers, Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, highlighting that McLaren's progress is backed by numbers, not just noise. "There's still a lot for us to improve," he admitted, "but the results from our side speak for themselves." Credit to Red Bull, though, even in how they handle off-track opportunities, they're very sharp. But this sharpness might soon be put to the test. Trouble could be brewing for Red Bull, not just from their rivals, but from within. Max Verstappen's future with the team is far from guaranteed. Rumors persist that if he slips out of the top 3 in the drivers' standings, he may seriously consider his options elsewhere. That reality places immense pressure on Red Bull to maintain every competitive edge possible, even if it means resorting to strategic accusations or off-track tactics to destabilize others. Which brings us back to the FIA's new stance. With President Mohammed bin Sulayem proposing penalties for unfounded protests, specifically docking budget cap space for failed allegations, the stakes are now higher. Teams could face real consequences for lobbing unproven claims across the paddock. So, what do you think? Are bin Sulayem's proposed penalties fair and necessary? And more importantly, where do you see this ongoing saga between Red Bull, McLaren, and the FIA ending? Comments below. And once you're done, don't forget to click on the video that's popping up on your screen right now. And don't forget to subscribe my channel.